Well, we're
So
at 101 on
where to
button
go.
in. So I appreciate you guys being on. Denny Grimes here, the master of real estate, and what we're doing here every Friday, 1 to 2. If you happen to be seeing this on my YouTube channel or online, and you want to join us live, just look right behind me. If you can pin my screen, I sometimes put some good slides up there, the URL, and for anybody here would like to share it, it's not too late to share it, and they can get on today. It's dennysmastery.com. Those that are live, I don't know why we have this little situation going on here, but if you're coming up as Sherry, then you may want to change that. So anyway, here we go. It is September 20th. And again, that my YouTube channel, if you've not signed up for that, we're almost at 1,000. And maybe here in the next few months, I'll kick this into gear. We have over 200 role plays or videos of role plays if you want to go back and use the library. So we had Recon, and you guys know about Recon. A lot of people are on Recon each and every day. We've got a couple of hosts. Matt might be on today. John is one of my co-hosts for Recon. That's daily, 8:30 to 9 Central Time, or 9:30 to 10 Eastern Time. And then we kind of go quickly over everything. And a lot of the faces I see here, you're on Recon. Today, we can slow it down and a little bit so you get some basic understanding. Remember, nothing is mastered unless you practice it, and that's what we're here for. This morning in Recon, I said, look, the thought of the day is I want to have some conversations about interest rate. We can talk about that today. However, I'll let you go in any direction you'd like to go today. How can I add value to your conversations? And if you'd like to try to stump me, I'm game. So just raise your digital hand. Louise is traveling, and I don't know if I have anybody as a co-host, so don't be shy. Just bear with me. I'll do my best to get everyone and drive and talk and entertain all at the same time. I don't know why. Why is it doing that?
There we go.
Who is admitting these people? Somebody else have a co-host? All right, so we've got Deanna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Have you been on this call before, Deanna?
I've been in the background listening, but just once.
Well, good. Well, let's play full on today. What would you like to work on today?
Really anything and everything, because I need it all. We can do the rate. I know you mentioned earlier in the Recon that you wanted to, spend this hour on that. So we could go there.
All right. Well, let's go for the benefit of people that may be kind of new. I'm going to give you a couple let's see if I can find the slides here. Madeline was on a role play today, and she was thrown off. We were talking. Did they give you 2 objections at one time, Madeline? Was that what happened?
Yes, he wanted to relist with his sister, and at the same time, the interest rates.
Okay, let me see if I can rattle off a couple of things you can make some notes on that might help you. When I hear something, and I've been doing this a while, when I hear an objection pop in, and I guess everybody's in, there's a couple rules or hacks that I have in my brain. I share these often, but I don't know if I should make a slide of them. Number one, we know the model. And you guys are doing this pretty well. You acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. You also know the bases of basically you want to get clarity, then you want to go to motivation, pain, etc. Here's some other little hacks that I have. Write this down. What about what we talked about today? Whatever their prediction is, don't fight them on their outlook of the future. Just ask them, well, what if that doesn't happen? So that's an easy path to go down. Don't fight, make them think. The other is if they are a buyer or seller and they're objecting to moving forward, one of the things you want to do is help them understand the other side of the coin. Meaning, if a seller does not want to sell because they want the house prices to go up, how does that affect them as a buyer? So I don't know really how to maybe to say that another way. Help them put the other shoe on. Does that make sense? So those are just a couple little hacks. So Deanna, we'll start with you. And Frank, you were the first one on today. No, Frank, no, I won't do it to you.
What's that?
You'd be next, Frank. I'm gonna go.
I can be nice.
Janet
It can
was,
be nice.
you're gonna be nice, Frank?
I can play different roles. I mean, if somebody's new, I'll calm it down a bit. If somebody's experienced, I'm gonna ramp it up.
Well, Deanna's only been on, this is the first time up to bat, so no 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, okay?
Okay, sounds
right.
good.
So let's just assume this is going to be at the table. You're having a conversation. Do you actually list property, Deanna?
Yes, I will be.
Okay, so she's new. And so this is her first listing presentation. And so this is the way we begin. So you've gone through your presentation. Are you ready to move forward, Frank? You don't have to say it. Frank, go.
I just want to know a little bit more about this interest rate.
Okay, I understand that. So, what is it that you want to know more about related to the interest rates?
Well, I hear that it's going down. So if I wait, wouldn't that be better? I'd save some money.
Okay, so you're hearing the rates are going down. I know we're all hearing that out there in the news. What if they don't go down?
Well, that's why I'm asking you, because you're the expert.
Right. So,
All right, let's pause. Okay, I'm looking
Stay
for
with
the
it. You're doing fine. You're doing a great job. Believe me.
Yeah, but
Stay
I
with
tell
it.
you what, it's kind of like learning to dance and looking at the dance, the feet on the floor. So you just got to go put your feet on the little feet on the floor.
yeah.
So the model is acknowledge, isolate. So the first step one is isolate, right? Isolating question, the question would be other than that. So ask Frank other than that.
Okay. And you know what happened? I got in my head. I'm like, wait, is he a buyer or seller? And then I go, wait, we talked about, so you're listing. That's what we're doing.
All right.
Other than the rate, is there anything else preventing you from moving forward?
Not that I can think of, because I think you're a real good agent.
Excellent. So, so you're thinking that if the rates come down, what is it that you're thinking will happen if the rates come down related to selling your home?
Well, if the rates come down, probably more people want to buy it, and I'll make more money.
Okay. And then when you sell your home, are you going to be buying another one?
Yeah, but I'm going to be buying a smaller one, so I figure I'll still save money.
Okay, that I understand that you're going to be downsizing, buying a smaller home, but when the rates come down, don't you think there will be more buyers out there too? For when you're buying your home, you may have more competition.
Maybe, but in my travels, I find most people are looking to go the other way. They want more house.
Okay, that makes sense in your sphere, your people, who you're hanging out with are looking for maybe less house, or I mean more house, but there are a lot of maybe investors or first-time home buyers that are always out there looking for homes. I'm rambling.
No, stay with
You
it.
are.
You're doing good. Stay with it. You're doing good.
I get it. No, she is rambling, and
I'm rambling.
You are doing well because you're attempting to ask questions and you're doing something that's uncomfortable. It's like you trying to learn how to dance. So, all right. So let's go to Frank. I want you to reverse it on her. You are now the agent. Deanna, give her the same objection. Frank, you're the agent. Let's see how Frank does, and I'll let you guys give him some feedback. Go.
Okay, do I start then where, because I know where we are?
You're now the seller.
Giving the objection. Okay, Frank, I'm hearing that the rates are going to go down, so I'm thinking I might want to wait.
All right. I'm glad you brought that up. And let me ask you this. Other than the rates, is there anything else that would prevent us from doing the papers today?
No, I'm pretty much ready to go outside of that. I just think that maybe I should wait a month or two.
And what information do you have about the interest rates?
Just listening to financial reports and, that the Fed's going to be reducing rates over the next couple months and maybe longer. But...
And how certain are you that the interest rates are going to continue to go down?
Now, Frank, I'm going to pause you.
Okay,
It sounds like you're attempting to challenge her on her opinion of rates. What do we say at the beginning? Don't challenge out their outlook of the future.
okay,
Hey,
I'll go a different way.
Well, hang
What if
on.
it doesn't happen?
Hang on a minute. Matt, are you on? Because the typical Matt thing would be, well, you may be right. Leave that alone. And what do we do when we talk about rates? A couple different things here. I'm trying to get the right slide up. Give me a second. You want to eventually get off rates. Number one, I'll give you the path. You ask the questions. Why are they selling? Will they be buying when they sell? And then is it an affordability? They got to get the payment. So go down that path, Frank. You ready? Go ahead.
Okay, so Deanna, where you, remind me again, where are you moving to?
The California coast, the Central Coast area.
And you said you wanted to be there in 3 months, correct?
Right.
Okay. And if with the interest rates dropping, do you think there's going to be more buyers out there?
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on.
Okay. And do you think that the price of houses is probably going to go up?
Why would the price go up?
Well, have you ever thought about supply and demand?
Yeah.
And what happens with supply and demand?
When you have more people, the price goes up. When
Exactly.
you have more buyers.
Okay. So when you buy your new home, is it likely that the price is going to be higher than now?
Yes, that is a risk.
Okay. And so the the price of a house, once it's set and it's bought, can that be changed?
All right, Frank, I'm going to pause you. Are you struggling a little bit?
I'm struggling with how I want to phrase it.
All right, so let me ask you a question. What is anyone can answer. What is their concern about the rates?
That the prices are gonna go up. If the interest rate is gonna be down.
All right, so you said, all right, so you think the rates are going to go down. Is that right, Deanna?
Right.
And so well, let me ask you, if that's true, how does that benefit you?
I will get more money for the house I'm selling.
Now we have gotten her to say it out loud. Do y'all get that? They must verbalize, because you're kind of like setting up a little trap. Okay, so you'll get more money for your house. Yeah, that makes sense. So then you say you're going to the California coast, correct?
Yes.
And what will you do there? Will you be buying another house?
I will. Yes.
Now, who will impress me? One of my senior apprentice in role play. There's a very succinct way, like in less than 5 words, maybe 5 words. How do you nail that down with a question?
Sell high, buy high.
That's it. Oh, I see. Now here's where you have to add a little Tom Cruise drama. Oh, so you want to sell high and buy high with an upswing. Why? I'm asking her, like, are you nuts?
Yep.
Does that make sense, you guys? And so what I want you to do is it will start clicking when you practice a little bit more. And I haven't given you all the hacks where you should probably write them down. You have a little, who remembers flashcards? You can have a little flashcard, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, what I'd like to do is go over to Natalie, and I'm going to be the seller. Natalie, I'm going to give you some objections, okay? She struggled today. We can take, I don't know if I'll take the same one or not, but I'm going to give you more than one objection, which is very possible. And that was where her stumbling walk was. Okay, so I'm the seller. You asked, are you ready to move forward? No, I'm not ready to move forward right now. I think now is a bad time to sell.
Okay, so other than thinking right now is a bad time to sell, what else is keeping you from moving forward?
Now,
Is there anything?
I'm gonna
Is there
pause,
any-
I'm gonna pause the clock here and the trap for most of you, now she's disciplined because she's been on this call a lot. The tendency is, I don't know why my TV's not working. Sorry about that. The tendency is, well, why do you think it's a bad time? Only advanced people can do that because you're going to start talking about that. You may forget to go back and do the isolation.
Yeah.
So isolate first. So other than the bad time, well, I think it's a bad time, number one, because I think the market's really moving into my favor. And secondly, you know, I'm thinking about maybe the market's improving. I'm probably could sell it myself.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you think the market's going to turn into your favor and you are considering selling it yourself.
Correct.
And I'm getting stuck again, just like earlier. So my thought process, Danny, is okay, which one do I address first? So I guess you said earlier, so which one, put it back on them, right? So which one is more important? No,
Or
Yes,
other
yes,
than
you got
that?
it, you got it, you got it.
Not
right?
yet.
So which one do you want to address first?
Well, wait a minute. You're making an assumption. There's no more. Have you isolated
Yeah,
everything?
okay. Is that all, Danny?
You mean, well, if you say, well, is that all? I can tell she's getting exasperated. Well, I do have my sister as an agent. So if I am going to list, I probably would list with my sister.
Lovely. Okay, so other than waiting
Now
for the market-
that's sarcasm. That's sarcasm. Lovely sarcasm.
So other than waiting for the market to turn to your favor, thinking about putting on the market yourself and considering your sister listing it for you, is there anything else that would keep you from moving forward with me today?
Well, if I don't get my job transfer, I probably won't go.
Okay.
Now, at this point, she's trying to think, how do I get out of here?
I'm trying to think which one is the core, right? Because you always talk about there's a bunch of things they say, but it's really one thing that's usually keeping them from moving forward. Like, what's the truth?
Well, here's a great axiom. When in doubt, ask.
Okay. So out of those four things that you mentioned, Danny, which one is truly the most concerning to you?
So that would be the right question. However, you've got to keep going until they cry uncle. And you don't want to keep repeating everything, but you want to get, okay, so I'm making notes of this because actually I think you're nuts. So when you get to the third one, fourth one, say, okay, is there anything else? You know, just kind of like, I hope not, but I can't address these till you say no more. And it's what's really important about this is that if you don't ask that and they say, no, there's nothing else, they will feel a little bit bad about bringing up something they forgot. Now, that doesn't mean they won't, but you've got to put a stop on it. Now, then, well, if there's more than one, well, I got that. Well, a couple ways to ask the question. Well, I understand some of these seems like they might be all kind of tied together and something has to happen first. Which one is the most important or the most significant that's holding you back? Now, if you ask that, there's a possibility, and I'm going to answer the question, that they'll tell you. So, well, everything hinges on me getting my job.
Okay. So if that's the deciding factor before we can actually move forward, when do you know when you plan to hear back whether or not you got this job offer?
I think I should know by the end of the month, September. End of September.
End of September. Okay.
By the way, if you're listening and thinking at the same time, and I know it's kind of hard, when I was taking dance lessons, I couldn't hear the music. I was too worried about where to put my feet. If I have a job, and if the job goes through, does that seemingly logically make the, I don't know if it's the right time to sell it, concern almost evaporate?
Not at all.
Well, it could. It could.
But now you have to sell the house because you got approved in your job, right? So
Well, no, I don't have to sell, but again, logically, I want you to wonder about that because maybe I don't have to sell. I'll keep it. I don't have to sell to buy. I'll keep it. I'm going to rent in California or wherever I'm going. So okay. So yeah, I'll know by the end of September if I get the job. Where do you go from there?
okay, so I guess I could say if you do get the job, what's the next step in your mind? Like what I'm trying to get inside your mind of what is it that you're planning? What's your plan, right? Because to me, you sound like you're all over the place a little.
Well, maybe not. Okay, you can phone a friend who would like to help her out with a question.
I would say, great, that's exactly why we should meet, so you can plan. So when you get that information, you know how to move forward.
Way to go, Grasshopper. Nice to see you, Whitney. We're at the table, darling. We're at the table, so you can't use that one.
Oh, great. Sign
Fine.
here.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would-
there's the Frank close.
I would discuss the time involved. Once you hear from that you have received a job, do you have to be there immediately?
If there's something, here's what I want you guys to remember. If there's something that has to happen in the future for them to feel like if they can move forward, like they get the job transfer, the mother-in-law is going to move in, the baby, whatever. I mean, so, all right. So Madeline, let's just assume that happens. Okay. What you want to do is table that. Let's assume that happens. And this is now September 30th. You know, you get the job transfer. Can we have the conversation from that point? Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
All right, I'll give you one more minute. Where do you go from there?
Well, I guess I'm not clear whether or not he has to sell, right? So I guess before addressing everything else, the sister and the market, I should ask. So, Danny, how would I ask that? Do you have to sell the house? Is that, or should you have to sell?
No, we do have to sell. I mean, I don't want to own a house here, and I can't afford to buy a house in California if I have this house.
Okay, so time is money. I'm sure you heard of that. So would it make sense to start getting your house ready to put it on the market so that when you do get the answer that you got the job, we're already ahead of the holidays?
Well, okay, so are you forgetting my other concerns? I have a sister in the business, you know.
Yeah. I guess order of priority, I was trying to figure out where your mind is at, right? And then I guess a sister.
When in doubt, what?
Ask.
So now that so we're at September 30th, you've got the job transfer. Now, what's your next step? What would be your next question or concern? Well, if you ask me this, well, I guess that if I'm gonna have to sell, doesn't matter if I think it's the right time or not, I've got to go. I've got my sister.
Your sister, sorry.
That's right, Alberto. What were you saying?
Your sister work full time in real estate, or is part timer?
No, she's full time.
How many years of experience does she have?
She's been doing it about 10 years.
10 years. Why you didn't list it with her at the beginning? If you know, or she knows that a seller working with a real estate agent get 70% more money that the seller for sale by owner selling by themselves.
Now, why are you telling me that? Because I'm talking about listing with my sister.
Yeah. Hi, is you know that listed with your sister, you're gonna get more money in your pocket because you are avoiding to pay the commission. What is it, 6% or whatever, right?
Anybody
Working with your sister, you are gonna get 17 to 20% more money in your pocket. That's what you want, isn't it?
How are you coming up with that?
I think because he heard you say that you were considering putting on the market yourself at one point.
No, I said, I said, I have to sell, and I'm thinking about using my sister. I'm not even thinking about, you asked me what my next thought was. Well, my sister's in real estate, so why wouldn't I use my sister?
Yeah,
Question is to ask where his sister is, because she may be in another state.
Well, now we're gonna go back to the role play that we had this morning. She is not in this market. She's 2 hours away. Remember that?
What about what's most important to you, getting the best results or helping a family member?
Well, she's been in the real estate 10 years. I think she sold 30 or 40 million last year.
So would it,
How would family gatherings be if something went sideways?
What about the fact that, you're either gonna hire me or your sister? Let's get the logistics figured out first. And then, once we decide how to get your house listed now, we can discuss me or your sister. And then we'll talk about Thanksgiving.
All right, I kind of like the way Brad's going. So this is how I would handle it. And I'm just going to go to you, Frank, and you can be Frank. But the bottom line, all right. So remember, it's October or September 30th. You have to move. So would your next move be to get your home on the market? Obviously, your sister could be a possible choice. Is that your next move?
Yes.
Does that mean all right, so that's your next move. So you are going to be hiring an agent to help you get moved, correct?
Correct.
Now let's talk about, you mentioned your sister's in real estate. She's experienced, that's awesome. However, her office is 2 hours away. Would you be open to, I'm trying to think how I'd ask this, would you be open to a conversation about the pros and cons of that?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. So notice I asked permission. Now I'm going to go through. I'm not fighting. I'm not saying you shouldn't use the sister. Many times people are going to be talking to another agent. It may not be 2 hours away. It may not even be their sister. However, is it possible they're talking to an agent who could do a good job? And in which case I know them. They've been around forever. So I guess, would you be open to a second opinion? So now I would go down. So being 2 hours away. So what city is she in, Frank? Oh, you doesn't make something up. Well, do you realize that city is not in our MLS? So
No, I didn't know that.
So do you think that basically, where do you think the buyers are going to come from, local or outside the area?
Could be from both, but they're going to have to find it through the MLS, I imagine.
Yes.
Isn't that where all the houses are?
You might, they may come from inside and outside, and that's why you should have both areas covered. I cover this market and this multiple listing service with all 1,800 agents and know these agents, and I expose it to more agents. So let me ask you, do you think that working with an agent that gives you more exposure and is local, that can take care of an issue locally, would be a consideration? Notice I'm not ditching the sister yet.
Yes, why not consider it? Let's talk about it.
I would go in a little bit further. I'm at the table, and I would develop a little Ben Franklin. Here's the pros, here's the cons, and then let the decision make the decision without ever seeing anything negative about the sister. You'd have to say, here are the advantages. Well, when the inspector comes in, or there's a showing, they want a second showing, and you're out, and your sister doesn't have to give access. I mean, so can you see that? Can you see, how would you like a win-win? And my favorite thing, how would you like your cake and eat it too? And as a last resort, particularly if it's a professional agent and a relative, at that point, probably say, well, how would you like to have your cake and eat it too? What if we work together to get your home sold and everybody won?
Tell me more.
Well, you know where I'm going, right? We'll share the fee and this a professional courtesy. I mean, I'm sure your sister would like that. She gets it, and you can still talk to her and the whole bit, and you got the local representative, blah blah blah. Anyway, that's where I'd go. But the model, Madeline, is keep going till you get all the objections on the table. Which one seems to be the most important to you? And once you get it, well, if we can solve that issue, if for sure you get your job at the end of the month, will you be hiring an agent to get your home sold? Does that help? May have to go
Very
through.
much. Yeah,
100%.
that's a great breakdown. Thank you, Denny.
Brad, you've got Alberto.
All right.
What are you doing? Janet and Tanner, you're on deck.
So Alberto, let's do the interest rates. You be a seller. We're at the table. So Alberto, you ready to move forward? Get your house on the market today.
I don't know. I'm gonna interview another couple of agents that called me this morning, and I'm gonna take it from there.
Okay. And I apologize, Alberto. Say that again, please.
This morning I received a phone call for a couple of agents that they want to talk to me. So I'm gonna make a decision after that because I concerned about the interest rate.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I don't
Okay.
know how you're gonna deal with that.
Okay, so the interest rate is your concern. It's not so much the other agents. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically, I would like to know what is the concept, what is the idea that they have, how they can assist me thinking about the interest rate with the reduction. Is gonna help me out or is gonna hurt me? I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, very good. So other than the interest rates, you're ready to move forward with me today.
I don't know yet. I have to talk to my wife.
Okay, let's talk about the interest rates. So you're selling your house right now. So the interest rates, if they drop, how is that going to affect you?
Well,
I
let me
think-
ask you, hang on a minute. I have a question. I have to talk to my wife. You're going to solve an objection that if you solve the objection, it's not going to do you any good.
Fair enough. I heard him say that about the wife.
So if you know that if you're digging for gold and you know there's no gold where you're digging, you might want to figure out maybe I should dig somewhere else. So you will answer that maybe, but you still got to talk to his wife. So what do you do about that? Number
All
one,
right, Alberto.
you want to make sure everyone's there. However, sometimes we can't control that. Deal with the issue, Brad.
Okay. Alberto, so I understand your concern that you want to discuss it with your wife. I would too if I had one. Come on, there was an So Alberto's what is
Are you advertising, Brad?
No. I'm not. I don't even know why I said that. Anyway,
Sorry about that.
Bill report.
Okay. So anyway, Alberto, your wife, is she what does she know? This is a challenging question. I'll finish it. What does she know about the interest rates? How will discussing interest rates with her affect your decision?
Basically, because she's a teller at the bank. She worked from Bank of America for 20 years and she's a teller. So she
All
has
right,
an idea
fantastic.
about the
So-
interest rate.
So you're gonna interview other agents, and you need to speak to your wife. So what I would like to do, Alberto, is reschedule this afternoon when your wife gets home to sit down and discuss with both of you the situation about the interest rates and how that'll affect you. As far as the other agents go, I'm sure that I have as much information about the interest rates right now that they would have, and once we discuss it between you and your wife, we can make a decision on how to move forward. Will that work?
By any chance, do you know what is going to be the cut in numbers?
Cap.
It's going to be 1 point, half of a point.
I don't know if it's gonna rain tomorrow or if the sun's gonna be shining. Well, I've heard many things, so I can't really forecast, but I know that the interest rates may affect, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question and we'll move on. Why do you keep going back to rates?
I don't know. I'm spinning around in circles, just having fun dancing.
Here's how I would answer. Here's evidently a couple different things. Number one, you've heard me say this, but I can't say it enough. never go over and have an appointment unless you know if they're going to be interviewing other agents. Ask before you go. Number
Okay.
two, will all the decisions, well, I mean, I see you and your wife on it, will you both be available? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. However, if you get to the end of your presentation and they say they're going to interview other agents, that means you did not ask the question. Another way to ask the question is like, okay, so when I come over, if you like everything you hear, will you be ready to move forward? I would just want to make sure I leave enough time to do that. They may say, yeah, if we like you, we're ready to go. They might say, hey, yeah, I mean, you can highly referred, groovy, or they might say, we'll be talking to some other agents. And that would be another conversation. Now, in this scenario, which reminds me of like a food fight. I mean, this is like all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I would say, well, it sounds like there's certain things you still have to nail down, Alberto. Let me ask you, how can I help you or add value to your decision-making process now?
Good question.
You see, back off. Because here's my opinion. I mean, anything could happen. And I don't see Matt on here. He could pop in here. Anything could happen, but I don't think pushing is going to help you. I think you got to back off and find out, okay, tell you what, you know, is there something I can do to help you with? And when would your wife be available? Or sometimes if she's not going to be available, so can we just assume right now that she said, Alberto, I'm leaving this up to you. I know it's kind of hard to believe that would ever happen, but let's just assume you make the decision and tell me what you think. If your wife said, Alberto, you were there, what would you decide? I will put it on him. And then, well, I'm still concerned about the rates. Well, what does that mean? Or again, I said this at the beginning of the call. If they're concerned about rates as a seller, what's the other foot?
Are you buying?
Yes. What is your concern in? What do you do? What are you going to do when you sell? So you want to sell high and buy high? Or, and again, y'all see where I'm going? I mean, once you kind of learn the cha-cha, it's the same steps. You just turn your body a different way. I don't know why I'm talking about dancing. I don't know about dancing. Okay. All
Denny,
right.
one question before you continue.
Sure.
When for sale by owner tell you, I'm gonna interview 3 or 4 more agents. You know, you wanna be the first or you wanna be the last, or you don't go.
Studies show that they will list with the first agent more than the last agent. So I would want to be first.
So you wanna be the first,
Yep.
definitely. Thank you.
All right, Janet and Tanner. Janet, you're up. Tanner, you're at the table. Janet, what do you want? Jenica, you're next. You're next.
Can I actually add one thing that might be helpful?
You bet.
So I've been in the situation where they told me at the end, oh, I'm going to be interviewing blah, blah, blah. And I said, great. What do you think they'll do that I wouldn't do? After I already went through my whole presentation, and they're like, good point. And they ended up signing with me. So I think just kind of asking a bold question sometimes works.
That's
Yeah.
I
good.
don't know.
Anything works sometimes. A few things work more than sometimes, but you got to ask. And if they're going to be interviewing other agents, I found by far the best question to always ask. Oh, that's awesome. Great. Forgive me, I say awesome a lot. That's like marvelous for whatchamacallit. I understand. Let me ask, what criteria are you going to use to pick your agent? Now that will stump a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it'll make them think, well, you know, I don't know. I just saw online you should talk to 2 or 3 people. Oh. Well, do you mind if I share with you I've done this a while. Do you mind if I share with you the best questions you could ask other agents? That would be really helpful. Now, guess what you get to do? You guys get to set the standards. So if you have a lot of experience, you talk about experience. If you're
Did you address that on the phone?
No, I would ask that on the phone, sure.
Okay.
But I wouldn't go into that answer on the phone. If they don't know, I might say, well, okay, well, I'll tell you what. One of the advantages going first is I'll help you. I'll give you a list of questions you should probably be asking other agents. I'll do that when I'm there. How's that? So that would be another reason why they might want to see me first. All right. So Janet, you're at the table with Tanner. Tanner's just a puppy dog. So what are we doing? Buyer or seller?
The seller.
All right, Tanner, you're the puppy dog at the table.
Okay.
Okay. So Tanner, are you ready to sign today?
Let's
Are you
not say
ready?
sign. Let's not say
I've
sign.
gone over the presentation. Are you, and I've told you all the value. Are you ready to sign?
Wait a minute, Janet. Don't say sign. Are you ready to
Okay.
move forward?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you ready to move forward, Tanner?
Thank you, Janet. Well, here's the thing. I really want to think it over a little more.
Tanner, don't give her that.
Okay, I'll do something else. All right. So Janet,
Interest
yeah,
rates.
okay. So Janet, I heard that the interest rates are coming down. Perhaps, if we waited a little more, it would be better for us.
Okay, so what is it about the interest rate that has got you concerned?
Well, I heard, when they go lower, the prices go up. So I'm really interested in getting the most for my house. If I could get another $100,000, would be great.
Okay, you may be right. So why are you selling?
Oh, I need to downsize and purchase another one. This is too big.
Okay, so so do you realize that when you sell high, you sell, you
ask,
buy.
Ask,
Pardon? Go, Vanessa.
ask. You're starting to tell him.
Sorry,
Do you know he's going to buy another house?
you just said so.
Is that
He's
what he
gonna
said?
downsize.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now ask him. Ask him.
So how does that benefit you, Tanner?
Well, I feel like, if I get good money for my house, it'll be easier for me to purchase the next one.
I'm not allowed to make a statement.
No, I get you're on a perfect track, Janet. You really are. Here's what'll happen is you get more comfortable. So you guys are going right to like the end of the chapter, and I want you to slow down a little bit. So okay, so you want to sell high? Well, you can say, okay, so here,
That's what I wanted to say. Do you realize you're gonna
Yeah.
buy in the same market you're selling in? If you sell high, you're gonna buy high.
Yeah, it's a statement. So if you wait, ask a question and give them a little tidbits. So if you wait and your house goes up in price, what's going to happen to the house you go to buy?
Okay.
Don't
So Tanner, if your house does go up in price, what do you think is going to happen when you go to buy?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm not quite sure, but it's like a 3 towns down, like it's like a 2-hour drive. So I'm not sure exactly. Do
Okay,
you think that would be the same?
so would it benefit you? We could sit and talk about the pros and cons of
You're at the table.
I am. So trying to find another question.
But did you hear he asked you a question? Did you hear it?
What was it? Say it, Tanner.
So I'm interested in moving like 2 hours, down. I'm not sure if, the market is the same though. Maybe it's different there.
That's a good question. And that's worth sitting down and doing some research. So
Well,
how
yeah.
can I add value for right now to your decision making? What are the questions would benefit you right now?
So I'm going to pause you right there. You were tracking right on the model, asking the questions, etc. I got to give you props for that. You went a little sideways when we got on that one thing. Maybe it's my interruption of you. There's something else that goes on, you guys. If the seller wants to wait till prices go up and then buy, so you want to sell high, buy high, what else happens in a market like that?
There's less inventory.
Bingo. It's impossible for inventory to stay the same in a rising market. It's a rising market. It's a lack of inventory that causes the market to rise. So basically, so you want to sell high, buy high. Yes, I don't mind. I'm going to downsize. Okay, so let me ask you, do you want to, when you want to step into the market, do you want to step into the market with more choices or less? That's one question. You're leading him because right now there's more inventory. Most likely there'll be less later. And by the way, Tanner, do you know when the best time to buy is?
No.
No, you don't. When sellers fear that tomorrow is worse than today. And so right now there isn't this influx of buyers. So you could probably get a better buy. Now, is it possible that you could buy now and sell later? Because that could be a possibility.
No, I have to sell in order to buy.
All right, Tanner, you're going to Jenica.
All right, Denny, it'll be a seller objection at the table again, and it could be random.
Anything but I'm interviewing other people, Jenica.
Okay.
All right, Jenica, thanks so much for meeting with me, allowing me to have this conversation. Are you ready to move forward?
I don't think we're ready yet with all the changes in the market and the interest rates.
Okay. Other than that concern with the interest rate, is there any other concerns that you may have just up front that I can really understand what you're looking for?
No, those are the two main things.
Okay. I mean, could you just help me understand what is it exactly about the interest rates that concerns you?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of waiting for them to go down because when I think about us buying, a 0.5% could make a difference in the rate.
When you say 0.5%, what is it exactly?
Oh, I don't know. When I did it on my mortgage calculator, it's like $150 a month. So that could really help us out.
Okay. And ultimately, you're looking to purchase, and what again, just like, why exactly making this move?
Oh, well, we want a pool. It's hot here in Sacramento, and so we don't have a pool. So that's been a big push for us.
Oh, that's cool. I understand it. I mean, what does that do for you, the pool?
Oh, it gets my children out of the house.
Now,
Right.
Tanner, that was a filler question.
I know.
Stay on
mean-
task. Come on, did y'all see that? Now, when you start going, well, what does that do? Tell me, do your kids know how to swim? When you start going 5 deep on something that doesn't matter, that means you don't know where you are.
Do you think it helps to connect though with like the why behind the pool, or like what would that do for you, kind of, or not?
Yeah, but you've got to be careful how you lay that card. I mean, I want a pool. Well, what would that do for you? I want a 3-car garage. But you can't keep doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question because I got a little confused. Are you a seller?
Yes, I think we were talking about on the buy end though. I was waiting for interest rates to go down. That's why I was kind of holding off.
Okay, I got it. So you're talking, so Tanner, get to the center. So are you saying you're holding off on giving your kids the fun and memories of swimming for $150 a month? Or that's actually $7.37 a day?
I know, I guess it depends if the right house comes available, then maybe we'd list our house sooner.
Okay, okay, so that's a different taco of a different color, right? So I'll reverse it, Jenica, and let's see, anybody hands up. Who is that? How do you pronounce your names? Care?
Yeah.
Care. All right, so Jenica, Care, can you pick up from there as the seller, wannabe buyer?
I'm trying this very first time. I'm a brand new agent, so I'm gonna try.
No. I'll give you a better one. I'll pick up. Okay, so now Jenica, you're the agent. I'm gonna pick up where you were. So what was the last statement you said? It was 100. We were talking about $150 a month. What did you say?
The right house.
Oh yeah, if the right house comes available, where would you go?
Okay, so what I hear you saying is if the right house became available, then the interest rate concern wouldn't be there?
Now you guys, that was a good question. That's kind of like when she made, when that statement came up, it kind of minimized the interest rate, right? So good job on that. And there's a lot of ways you could ask the question. I guess, I guess that's true.
Okay, so if we were able to find you the right house, then would you be willing to move forward to get your home listed?
Okay, yeah, okay, sure. I'm
Okay.
walking you into, I'm walking you into a trap.
Okay. Shoot. Okay, because sorry, I made it confusing because we're buying and selling. So, okay, so if we were able to find you the right house with the pool, interest rates are what they are, then you're ready to list your house with us today?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I'm not gonna list because I don't have a house to go to yet.
Okay. I don't want to get too much in the weeds because we could do like a contingency for the finding the house, etc.
Well, you're not in the weeds, you just started, and this role play could be very
Okay.
real. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess for $150, yeah, if the right house came up, I'd buy it.
Okay, so in this market, it's hard to get an offer accepted if your house isn't listed. So why don't we go ahead and list your house? We'll still have the contingency in place so that you have to find a replacement property. That way we can really begin searching for that replacement property.
Now, let's just talk. This is a mastery call, so let's just talk. I'm out of role play right now. Is that really good? Is that really good for the buyer? What kind of house can they buy in a market that's competitive with a contingency?
Well, so what I mean, I guess, is they can't really be out shopping without their home listed. I mean, they could, but you're not going to really get. But what are you saying?
No, how do you know? You didn't ask me.
Oh, how do I know which part? Sorry, maybe I'm assuming.
Let me reverse it. Let me reverse it.
Okay.
Okay, you're going back to the seller. This one would say, so all right, so the right house came available. Now let me ask, do you have to sell this home in order to purchase the next one?
I do.
Well, if you have to sell first before you can buy, what is your plan? Notice I am not going, well, we can get a contingency and I'm not going down that road. I'm asking them what's their plan, because they're in what we say in Florida is a pickle.
Yeah. If I have to sell first before I buy, well, I was hoping I could do it and still be contingent. So find the house, put my house on the market shortly after and get in.
Got it? This is the way it's going to go, but I want to get you off that contingency crap. You don't have to do that because it's not good for the buyer. If they find a seller that wants to do it, chances are it's not a brand new listing and it's not a hot mama property, right?
Right.
It's something that's been on the market since Obama was president. So they're going to find a seller that's asking too much.
Yeah.
So here's my concern is that if you go to buy a house with a contingency, chances are it won't be one of the better ones. So what else do you have in mind? How are we going to get from one house to the other? Now, I already know the answer to the question, right? I already know. I want them to realize, they might be in a pickle. And this is this is one of the Dennyisms. Don't solve a problem they don't know they have. You're getting no credit for it.
Okay.
And anybody want to pipe in there? We've got a few minutes here. We did a lot of this a year or so ago during COVID.
So I think if they don't have an option, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, could you ask them, okay, so if you received 2 offers and they were offering they were exactly the same terms, Mr. Seller, but the only difference was that one buyer had to sell their house first, which one would you take, and just kind of reverse it back to them?
Well, yeah, you could do that if they had, So the bottom line is, you're not competitive. You're not competitive with the contingency. So you are going to be shopping from the dent can bin. Does anyone remember the dent can bin?
No, I'm too young for that.
So what if they don't have another option though? Like, let's say that is real, they can't be non-contingent. I mean, we just got a contingent offer accepted, the buyer paid our full commission. But
I'll tell you how
what
you
if-
do it. I'll solve it. We're
like
gonna
a
land the
bridge
plane.
loan?
I can
Okay.
land the plane in 2.5 minutes. So let me ask you, how would you like to have your cake and eat it too?
Tell me more.
Well, number one, step one, have you been looking around at the house? Have you been doing some shopping? Are houses you like out there if your home was sold?
A few,
How often are you seeing them?
not too often.
Now you're answering questions like Frank.
Sorry, I'm being real. Like, yes, there's a few out there.
Okay, and how often are you seeing them?
Maybe a couple a month.
Now notice she's saying not too often, and now she answers the question because I pressed her a couple of months. I thought it was like one every 5 years or something, right? So a couple of months. So what if we could find a buyer for your house? And the buyer we're looking for doesn't need to move in right away. So we can get to the close on your house and let you stay there for, let's say, 30 days, 60 days. By then, 4 houses may have popped on the market that might be acceptable. And then you could act, because you'll have your money in your hand, you'll have your equity, you can go and purchase the home as a cash buyer, get the best home at the best price, and make one move. Would that work for you?
I think so, but what if the house I like it isn't on at that time and then I've already sold my house and then I'm stuck?
Well, I just asked you how often the homes come on the market. You said every a couple of months, and I'm giving you 2 months to give you double the time. Do you have any reason to believe that the houses coming on the market aren't going to come on the market?
No, I'd be worried because with like 2 dogs, a cat, 2 kids, getting everything ready, it's a lot to, get it sold and then really not know where I'm going. So I'm nervous about that.
Well, you have 3, maybe 4 choices. Number one, go and find a seller that can't sell their house to anybody else, and they'll take your contingency. That's one. Number 2, sell your house and then hope there's a home on the market that you like, which is kind of risky to me. Number 3, take my idea, and if you don't feel comfortable with 2 months, maybe we'll make it 3 months, where you can have one move that gives you plenty of time to find a home. And option number 4, you are join the YMCA to go swimming.
Okay. Good options. I'll have to think about it. That really is a true scenario though, where I feel like sometimes people are worried about not finding the next one. But yeah, you're right. You look at the bottom of the barrel listings or overpriced listings.
Well, you say, well, if 60 days doesn't work, what length of time would make you feel comfortable, Jenica?
Yeah.
90, 120? We had somebody in Naples that would have waited, the buyer would have let them stay there 2 years.
And then do you deal with issues with the lender though? Because they need to occupy within 60 days.
I got it, but don't throw all that mud on the wall yet. It's
Okay. I think about that in the back of my head though. Okay.
Those things can come up.
Okay.
So you know what I call that? We haven't done it in a while. That is the golden seller. I say, congratulations, you're the golden seller. What do you mean? I made them feel good, right? The golden seller. There's buyers that want to lock in a house right now. Interest rates dropped. They want to lock in a house, or maybe it's a cash buyer. And they don't want to move in right away, but they'll love you staying there because you take such good care of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, top of the hour. Give me
Stephen,
some.
would you bring up lease back at that time? A lease back program? Or
Lease,
not?
the
Just
lease,
leave it alone.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to work it out. They can subtract it from the purchase price. It would be a monthly rental. And, it gets complicated when lenders get involved. However, don't get into the minutia. Just see if that idea works, because it's a win for the buyer. It's a win for the seller. Not only they'll be able to sell their house at fair market value, and they have plenty of time to shop to find a house. They're not under the gun. Is there a possibility that all of a sudden there's never a listing that meets their needs from that point until the end of earth? Yeah, but it's not.
Every once in a while.
It's not very probable. So what did you hear today that you learned that was worth your time? You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. What did you hear that you learned?
You said don't solve a problem that they don't know they have. That's priceless.
You'll hear me say it a couple different ways. Don't go to the end of the book until you fill the pages in between. You get there too fast and they don't quite understand it. You do because you know the end of the book. Thank you for that. What else?
What criteria are you going to use to interview other agents or
Yeah,
to
just
choose
like
an
that.
agent?
Nice job, Brad. And I appreciate that. What else?
Are you ready to move forward? Instead of
That's
saying sign the contract.
Yes. And by the way, Janet, do you know why I said don't say contract?
Why?
Low.
I was one thing I'll show you. I was raised by Tommy Hopkins, Zig Ziglar. Literally, I couldn't even afford a tape player for my car. No, it's not 8-track, silly. It was cassette. And so I had a portable cassette player in my car and I would listen. And there's words they taught me never to say. Contract's one. A sign is another. I never say sign. The contract, you never say sign the contract because you've always been told your parents never sign anything. And if you have a contract, you better have somebody to look at it. Would you authorize, okay, or approve the agreement? So when you say sign, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Got it. So you wanna buy it? No, so you wanna sell your house high and also possibly get in a situation where you're gonna buy in the same market and sell high? Or buy high?
Half the words. So you wanna sell high and buy high?
Yeah, that's it. Sell high and buy high. Good job. I love you guys.
Love you, meet it. We'll see you next week. See you at Recon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Great job,
I
everyone.
miss Matt. I miss Matt today.
I know. What's the deal?